Question for those who were reported missing. What happened to you?
I left the house where I was being mistreated, leaving a note in which I clearly stated my intention to never return. An hour or two later, I received a call from the police station informing me that they had received a report of my disappearance. I explained the circumstances to them, and they wished me well. Since I was of legal age, I had the right to leave.
It was 3 years ago. I had an emotional breakdown in 2015 after I lost my job, and the whole year was hard. So I packed my things in a backpack, sat on the bike and went to another city. To LA, I got enough money to get through the week. Turned off the cell and left the whole week. I was vacationing on the beach, hung out, went to bars and clubs, and were staying in a hostel. I spoke with other guests at hostel, and overall, it was an amazing week. I've relaxed, I packed up and went home, and in one corner I was stopped by the cops. Turned out that 2 of my former colleagues, with whom I met after I was fired, was worried about me and came to my house to see me. My housemates said that they saw me for a few days. They started looking for me around town, and then informed the police about my disappearance. The police checked my notes, activity, my phone, and saw that I had not appeared in social networks, know that I have not communicated with the family, and while I was trying to escape from your shitty life, was thinking about the worst police. I sent out a number of my bike, and when I went on the highway, apparently it was lit in computer patrol, so I stopped and the forehead. Was polite. He just wanted to make sure that I'm okay. He called the manager and asked him to remove me from the list of missing persons in Australia. From the list of missing rule only after a police officer personally saw the missing. 8 hours later I came home and saw that many were worried about me, to be honest. I thought that everyone will not care for my disappearance, but it would have left a note.
I work in a hurry, and one day we went on a call to a man who complained of pain in his legs. We came to a very polite guy who was sitting by the side of the road with huge blisters on his feet. He said that he went to a relative's funeral. He was very upset and decided to walk to clear his mind, so he walked and walked for 4 whole days. It turned out that he lives in the same place where he grew up, 400 kilometers from here. We talked about this village, about good local pubs, etc. He admitted that he was a little depressed and that he might need professional help. Unfortunately, we could only drop him off at the hospital, and we did everything we could later in the same shift. I was on Facebook. And when I saw that a school friend had posted a post about a missing person, it was our move. I called the police and informed them of the poor guy's whereabouts. They were very happy.
My brother had been missing for a year. He had disappeared before, but only for a few days. He has paranoid schizophrenia and often suffers from hallucinations. We live in New York. My parents had no idea where to look for him. Throughout the year, we constantly went to the police to identify the body. He had no friends or girlfriend. Where could he go? My brother just disappeared a year later. We received a call from a hospital in Washington. My brother was picked up on the street in a very exhausted state. It turned out he went to Washington to warn the government about some kind of threat due to his illness. He refused food because he believed it was poisoned. The only reason he's still alive because the homeless took care of him. He didn't look like himself when he was found, covered in flea bites. Now his brother is physically healthy, which can't be said about his mental health. At least he didn't try to escape anymore. When I see homeless people on the street, I always think about this case.
I went on vacation for 3 weeks, and during the second week, my boss called me and asked if I was okay, because the police had called him and told him that they had received a report of my disappearance. My neighbor had made the report because she was worried that she hadn't seen me for a week, and I was actually pleased that you now know that you have good neighbors.
One of my first memories of how I got lost when I was 5 years. We have families. Went on vacation to Scotland. Was in a hole where there was almost nothing but forest all round. Entertainment special was not so. My sister decided to play hide and seek. I came up with a brilliant idea to hide the front door of the cottage where we stopped under a huge custom. I watched the nurse who was looking for me for about 5 minutes, then obviously left her. and entered the house. But I don't give up so quickly, so I decided to sit in the bushes until I find, after a short period of time, of 15 minutes or so, the game began to participate more people. My parents ran in one direction and then the other, and I watched them and giggled, thinking what I have done so well hidden. More and more people joined the game. It was, and campers from other cabins, and the park staff, and police. Sat in the bushes. It took many hours. It got dark, but I enjoyed the game. My sister was only 7 years, so she wasn't in search of just sitting on the porch after dark. My yellow jacket started to stand out. And finally, after a whole day looking around the forest, my sister realized that I was sitting across from her best game of hide and seek in my life.